My name is Liz, the voice behind the hands, I guess, of Heretic Owl Tarot. And I'm like, where am I looking? Here we go. Hello. I keep feeling this urge to get on here and show my face, and I don't know why that is. Why would I do that? I don't know. Um, but here I am. So when, so this urge started kind of coming to me, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what would I even do? Like, the thought of actually doing a tarot reading by like showing my face like this, no. So my other thought, and part of that is because I'm like, you'll probably notice this at some point, but I cannot hold a focus to like this little, camera lens. I look all over the place. I usually, when I'm sitting here doing tarot readings, I'm looking outside. I'm staring at trees. I'm watching birds. Like, um, so I don't know. It's like, do I can't imagine um, showing my face when I'm not even looking at, the camera because I can't hold my focus there. So I don't know. Anyway, when I kind of started thinking about like, well, what would I do? Because just wanting to honor that urge, that feeling, because it does feel good. But I was like, okay, well, what would I do instead? So then I thought, well, maybe I'll just kind of get on and like introduce myself and give some little tidbits about me. Because I don't know, have I ever really done that? I have no clue. I don't remember. But um, also too, just to say that I realized that I was a bit inconsistent last year as far as posting videos and when I was posting videos and how often, whatever. And I don't know how much of that is going to change, but I do want to make it a priority again because I really do enjoy doing this. I love I love tarot readings. I love giving them. I love receiving them. I love watching them. So, but part of the reason, and actually the actual reason why I was so inconsistent with that last year is because I felt like I was dying. Not to be dramatic, but I was basically operating at like my lowest setting, like basic survival, really. And come to find out, I was actually diagnosed with severe sleep apnea, which I believe that I've actually been suffering from since high school, which was a long time ago. But I was really relieved, though, to receive that diagnosis because also there was already like a path of treatment available, and it was then waiting for that because, of course, that took a lifetime to finally come around. But I've been on CPAP treatment since the beginning of January, actually, and I feel like a completely different person. I mean, I feel alive, which feels good. I feel rested. I feel present. It just, what a difference it makes. So I'm also convinced that everybody has sleep apnea. So if you have access to it, highly recommend a sleep study because, man, the power of sleep, right? So, anyway, I'm very excited to do my first set of videos after being on treatment for a month. I guess today would be a month. Today is February 5th. I have no clue when I'm actually going to start the actual tarot readings. I don't think I'm going to do that today, probably tomorrow. But anyway, um I'm excited. I mean, maybe nothing will change. I don't know. Maybe some things will. We'll see how it goes. But how exciting is that? It's exciting for me anyway. I also might like I don't really have this set up to do the, like the my table and me, but I might see if I can finagle something and just try it. Just, have like the camera on the table and then have like a little overlay of me in the corner. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If you don't see me up there, I didn't figure it out because I'm not super tech savvy in that type of way, but maybe eventually a solution for that will come up. But otherwise, just a little bit about me because I did kind of decide that I was making this an introduction type of thing, but I can't give you too much information because the more I remain mysterious, the better. And that is because I'm a 5/1 human design profile, manifesting generator, emotional authority. And with that 5/1 profile, the whole familiarity breeds contempt. Um, did you, if you heard Taylor Swift's song Bejeweled, she says that in there. She's a 5/1 also. So I'm like, there's no doubt somebody gave her a human design reading somewhere down the road, right? Or she could have just Googled her own chart. But anyway, so yeah, the more I remain mysterious and behind the projection of the fifth line, as long as it's a positive projection, right? Because on the other side of that is being burned at the stake. But anyway, so 5/1 manifesting generator, emotional authority, left angle cross of uncertainty. I have a lot of gates in uncertainty gates, so I'm never sure about shit. But even, like as far as like putting my face out here, right? Like part of me, like I feel like there is kind of this like evolution, just there's some sort of change I feel as far as either the way that I present videos or the way that I do them. And part of me, like a big part of me wants to wait until I figure that out. I don't know if that's my Virgo moon. I don't know what that is, but the other part of me is like, no, I mean, like we figure it out by trying, right? So you kind of like push through the uncertainty and eventually certainty shows up. So we'll see what happens. But I'm a Cancer rising, if you can't tell by my super round face. I'm also a Cancer Venus. And like I said, Virgo moon, Taurus sun. And what else? I am clearly into plants, if you can't tell. I also sell plants. I have a plant stand at a coffee shop in downtown Colorado Springs. So if you're ever in the area, check out the Perk downtown. I have my plants in there. I absolutely love it. It's so fun, but my house looks like a jungle because it's also my greenhouse. It's where I keep my property for that business. And I am attuned to Reiki master level. And before every reading, I set the intention for the message to come through me, not from me. I clear the space. I also get consent from every deck that I use in every reading. I have consent from it to use it for all 12 readings. And the way that I do that is usually there's a deck that just kind of like pops up in my mind. And I'll shuffle that deck until a card comes out. And if it's a general positive card, I take that as a yes. If it's a general negative, quote unquote, card, then I take that as a no and I'll try a different deck. I do that for all my readings, personal readings, if I'm doing an event, obviously YouTube, Instagram, which I've also been super inconsistent with and want to get back on to posting daily readings on there. But anyway, I get consent every time from the decks that I use to use them for the readings. And is there anything else? I realize like how long this actually is, and now I'm like, shut up. So is there anything else I want to tell you for now? Because I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. That's it. I'm so glad that you're here. If you watch this whole thing, thank you. Follow me on Instagram for daily readings eventually, if you care about those. And last thing I'll say is that I do my readings based on human design profile, and you don't have to know your human design profile or anything about human design in order for the message to be for you. I mean, if anything, you would have to know your human design profile, I guess, right? But you don't even have to know anything else about it. You don't have to know anything about human design. I don't generally go into very heavy human design terms. I might talk about strategy and authority sometimes, but the message is still the message for you, even if you have no clue about human design. And if you don't have any clue about human design, I'm happy that I introduced you to it, because it unlocked some stuff for me that was pivotal in my healing and self, acceptance and love journey. So anyway, I think that's all that I'll say for now. If there's anything else that I'm missing, I'll just say it in the video. And I'll see you later. Bye. Hello again. Oh my gosh. I swear one of these days, I'm not going to say hello a million times or twice, whatever. Anyway, so this is a reading for the 6-2 profile. I'm down to my conscious 6-line baddies. Welcome. And I am feeling a little chatty today, so get comfy. I apologize in advance. That's like one of my things is that I feel like I always get really insecure when I'm talking a lot. Like, shut up. Nobody cares. But here I am putting, tarot videos out on like YouTube, right? Like, anyway, I hope you're doing well. I'm making this video on February 9th, and there's a new moon in Aquarius today. There's a lot of energy surrounding Aquarius, and squares happening. Words are not coming very easily, or they're coming out in a fun way. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I've been exhausted like all week, just, like feeling drained, but also energized at the same time. Like, I still want to do stuff. I still want to show up here. I'm just sleepy. So, and I have no reason to be sleepy. I've been sleeping fine. So anyway, all of that is to say, I hope you're doing well. If you do feel drained, just give yourself some grace, some compassion, take it easy on yourself. I think for like the next week, there's supposed to be a lot of activity in Aquarius. And again, that activity in Aquarius could be squaring planets in other signs. There's a lot of cosmo energy out there. I think after Valentine's Day, it starts to kind of break up a little bit, but not like all the way. I saw this video the other day that was saying how a lot of planets are going to be like kind of clustered-ish together through like the middle of May. So like kind of working their way through Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and I think Taurus before there's just more distance put between them. So, a lot of transformation. There's a lot of energy available to make big moves, make transformation. Sometimes that can be uncomfortable, sometimes not, like, so, we're floating around on this rock in outer space just like everybody else is. So, take it easy, but let's get you an oracle card. It says affirmation for acceptance. You'll see me do this a fair amount of times because I don't know if this camera up here is auto-focusing, and the OCD in me, I can't handle it being blurry, although, it very well still could be. I don't know, but I'm just getting my shoulder exercises in. Isn't it? It's so interesting how, like, this relates to like what I was talking about too. And that happens so often, which I just think is so cool. And part of the reason, the majority of the reason why I even love doing these readings with you guys. So we have this tornado going on back here, right? And this witch is flying on the broom, not even paying attention, not even holding on, but reading this book about fate. So it feels like there's a couple things. It feels like divine guidance, like literally being carried to where you are meant to be. It's also even maybe karma coming up, karma, fate, what's the difference? I don't know. I don't see karma as like the good or bad thing. I love the idea of like people getting their karma if they're terrible people, right? Like, but it's more so like I see karma as like the things that we came here to experience, the things that we came here to learn, which is very much kind of tied into fate, right? Okay, we have the 7 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, Empress. So it definitely, clearing out some muck, or even feeling like in the midst of this tornado, because we'll look at that card a little bit more, but at least where she is, she's through the storm and it's blue skies now, right? So maybe that's even if you feel like you've been going through some stuff, or you might be going through some stuff coming up here. It's like that saying, the only way out is in. That is way too many cards. We just need, I almost said 1. We just need 2. We have the Emperor and the Empress out on the table on opposite ends of the table, but I love how 1 is at night, 1 is during the day, 2 more. We have the Chariot. I was thinking of the Chariot when I was talking about like divine guidance and being carried or like taken to where you need to be. I was thinking of the Chariot card because that also speaks to that too. The 8 of Pentacles, and then the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Let me just make sure everything is in frame, and then we'll start talking about these cards. Okay, so let me see if I can find, what is it? Affirmation for acceptance. Okay, 49. All right, let me hold this up here. Hopefully, okay. There is a prayer that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, there are circumstances or realities that we can't alter. Illnesses, broken relationships, lost jobs. There are, unfortunately, plenty of things in our lives we can't fix. It can be difficult not to keep fighting, but sometimes battling the unchangeable just uses up time and energy that would be better used in more productive ways. Sometimes what we really need is simply the serenity to accept those things we cannot change and the wisdom to know when it is time to do so. True. I mean, it really is out of our hands sometimes, isn't it? It's interesting that we start with the Seven of Swords. Swords have to do with our thoughts, our mind, ideas, inspiration. How are we communicating those things? Like, how are we communicating our ideas, our thoughts? It's also divine honesty and divine truth. I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego, is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, to feelings, to memories, right? Whether they're true or not, and whether they're ours or not. Was it a story that we created, or was it a story that somebody else told us, right? Like either about ourselves, about the situation, and we just accepted it as truth, and it became part of our identity and our personality. But our ego then becomes the reason why we do and don't do certain things. And even the reason why we show certain things and don't show other things. Because the Seven of Swords talks about sneakery, trickery. It's, they're literally like creeping around at night, and they're holding 5 swords. There's 2 swords here, and they're kind of looking at them like, do I take those? And, so the original meaning of the Seven of Swords is that, on the depiction of the traditional Seven of Swords, there's a figure that is like tiptoeing away from a camp with 7 swords. 5 or 7. There's 7 in general, or all together, But what they're doing is they are handicapping their opponent. So it's like, they're putting themselves at a greater advantage than the other person. So that's kind of where that manipulation thing comes from. So this reading is about you, right? So, I mean, this could be you, it could be somebody else, but it could be that you are trying to manipulate a situation in some capacity. And maybe that is so that it works out better for you somehow. But I also see the Seven of Swords as being the card of us fooling ourselves. It's self-sabotage. Again, the ego thing, like, kind of allowing those old stories to determine why we do or don't do certain things. And also, I mean, a lot of those things are created or done in secrecy. It's not like you're outright telling people, I'm self-sabotaging. Because, right? Like, I'm just going to go self-sabotage, and people are just like, yeah, good for you. No, it's generally like, it's literally like an unconscious kind of thing that we're doing unless we have a super awareness of like what is going on. Like we have a super awareness that our ego, or like that gremlin, that story is coming up, and we can see ourselves sabotaging ourselves, and either like disrupting that pattern and not doing anything. Because sometimes it's like, well, what do we do instead? Well, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Don't do what you were going to just do. And don't do anything until you know what to do. So, to wrap it up with the Seven of Swords, it's like, are you or somebody else in your life, are they trying to manipulate a situation so that they come out on top, or somehow they have the upper hand? Or are you self-sabotaging in some capacity? Like, are you fooling yourself, right? Like telling yourself, I can't do this. I don't have the capacity. I don't deserve. I don't, whatever the story is, right? You do have the capacity. You do deserve it. You can do it. Okay? So it's paired, though, with the Emperor. The Emperor is attached to Mars, which is attached to Aries. um, Mars is in Aquarius right now, or it will be. It might still be in Capricorn, actually, until next week. But it is one of those planets, though, that it's in the mix of everything that I was kind of mentioning at the beginning. But the Emperor is like an authority figure. They are, it's like, taking control of your life, taking control of a situation. It's the divine masculine. So in this case, before I go there, masculine in the sense of the energy of that, not necessarily the gender. I mean, it certainly can be. We have both, like I said, the Emperor and the Empress out here. They could be representing figures in your life, like a mother or father figure, or just somebody who has, an authority type of position, quote unquote, in your life. Could be a boss, could be a spouse, right? I mean, just somebody that you give power to. But I'm talking about masculine in the sense of the energy. So going and getting, initiating, giving, right? Like protecting, that kind of vibe that you get from the masculine, kind of energy. So with that being said, what I was going to say is that this would be toxic masculinity. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to do with like patriarchy. It can. It could even be internalized, like masculinity. That's not the word that I was thinking of. Patriarchy isn't either. Misogyny. But, and I'm only saying the toxic aspect because it is paired with the Seven of Swords. So it's like being out of integrity. And on the other aspect, though, if it is some sort of like self-sabotage or, again, just kind of fooling yourself in some aspect, then the Emperor would be here to be like, get your shit together. Okay? Let's go. Because they're like mapping the sky here. It could even be, again, even something to do with astrology. Like that, I was talking about astrology at the beginning of the reading, even the fate aspect, because there are just like, I've been down the rabbit hole of astrology for the whole month of January. And even just, like starting to put dots together, how many things that have showed up in my life or just the way that I operate in my life is also present in my astrology. It's fucking wild. So, but also there is this there is this sense of acceptance though, because it's like once you have an idea of like kind of, and this is what human design did for me too, but like once you have an idea, some of these things that I do or have done or whatever, both pertaining to astrology and human design, I thought for a long time were flaws, which I feel like would fall under the Seven of Swords, because I'm fooling myself, right? Like I'm making myself believe that these aspects of myself and the way that I operate in certain situations and whatever, are flaws. And that's also partly because people have probably told me that at some point in my life, or I've just been made to feel that way about it. So anyway, it's like once you see that though, like you see those patterns, you see that connection between, like planets, wherever they were at the time that you were born, right? Like, and I'm only speaking specifically about astrology just because on the scroll, it looks like he's got constellations mapped out there. But it's even using human design as a blueprint to help yourself and help you make decisions and help you reach like your highest potential, but also even to take some pressure off of yourself. And even that affirmation for acceptance, like to accept yourself, most importantly, right? So again, this Emperor could be this energy of let's go. Okay. Like this is something that is in the stars for you, literally. But there could just be this resistance because whatever, right? Because you are making yourself feel a certain way about the certain thing. Okay. So the 9 of Swords, I love that we're at least moving through the energy. We're moving from the 7 of Swords to the 9 of Swords. Okay. Even though they both are kind of like, just harder energies to be in, but you're at least moving through. And nines are individual completion. So the 9 of Swords, it does come with, just anxiety, fear, doubt, it's nightmares, it's keeping yourself up at night, stress, but also it is a 9. So the energy is available for you to like literally change your mind about the thing. And maybe that's a matter of making a decision. And also too, again, giving yourself a break, because I mean, she's even got books around, like there could be something that you have been researching lately or looking into, or just trying to get more information around. And it's kind of like you have all of the information that you need. And the last thing that you need to do to change the energy of this situation is to make a decision. And there is no wrong decision. The only wrong decision is going against what you know to be true for you. And maybe that's also too what is creating this 9 of Swords energy, because maybe you know what you want to do. And maybe that is bringing on a lot of fear or a lot of doubt, or just kind of, that back and forth thing in your mind. I watched The Matrix. Is it Resurrections or something, like the newest Matrix? I don't the other day. And the one thing that always sticks out to me in that movie, because I've seen it a couple times, but the one thing that always sticks out to me is the one part. I think the white rabbit, I can't remember what her name was. She's talking to the young Morpheus, I think. And she says, well, they're talking about choices or decisions or something. And I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's something about choice is an illusion because you already know what you want to do. And that kind of seems like what the Chariot card is saying. We've also got 2 7s on the table. We actually have 3 4 or 4 3, however you want to say it. Then we have these 2 7s, 8 and 9. So again, I mean, there is this progression. There is this moving through energy that is available should you decide. Speaking of decision, right? We have the Chariot down here, which is Cancer. The Empress is Taurus and Libra. Cancer is also associated to the moon. And again, right, there's that new moon that's happening today. I think it's already has been exact. Anyway, but on the Chariot card, there's one that's pointing this way, one that's pointing that way. Right? And again, there is this illusion of choice because for one, you probably already know what you want to do. And that could be stressing you out because maybe it's also like, it's not what somebody else wants you to do, or you're worried about other people's reactions. None of these cards have other people in them though. So there's that. But I mean, you could just be worried about that, or even just the impact that it's going to have on your life. But with the Chariot, there is no wrong decision. You're going to be exactly where you need to be regardless of what decision you make, whether you go this way or that way. They're both correct, but it really does come down to you and you making your decision from your authenticity, right? Like from what you know to be true for yourself. And then we move on to the Empress card. I also love how it turns from like dark to light. Even on this affirmation for acceptance card, on the left side of the card, it's dark because there's a tornado going on. On the right side of the card, it's sunny skies. And how, again, right, like just the progression through this reading, it's nighttime, could be, or just dark in general, right? The absence of light. And then on the right side of the card, or the right side of the reading, there is the presence of light, right? But anyway, so the Empress talks about, it's the divine feminine, right? So we have the divine masculine, we have the divine feminine. And that's about intuition, being in the flow, right? Receiving. Also, too, the Empress is pregnant in this. And, it could be biological reproduction if you're looking to expand your family, but it's more of like the metaphorical pregnancy. Like it does talk about, because the Empress is going to expand what she loves, what she touches, right? But also even just the fertility aspect, because it is reproducing something in your life, like reproducing abundance, reproducing love, reproducing, just something good. Because, this card is a good card. Also, like even just the nurturing aspect that comes along with the Empress, or just mothering in general, right? It is nurturing something so that it is brought into existence. It says the Empress is the embodiment of all that is female and powerful, gifting us with abundance, strength, and growth. She is the cycle of life from birth to death, although for now, we look on her in all her vivid and fertile glory, seeing the beauty that resides in every woman. No matter her age or circumstance, she reminds us that all women are divine. The Empress is a personification of growth and possibility. With her on your side, you can achieve anything. Truly, like, the Emperor is a true king. He is wise and experienced, and he always tries to do what is right for his people. He keeps order because life flows more easily when things are done correctly and everyone follows the rules. He does nothing without thinking it through first, but he is not afraid to take action if it is necessary. He is the embodiment of the sacred male, a father, and a figure of authority. The Emperor nurtures those around him just as the Empress does, but his approach is very different and his touch is a little heavier. He is definitely someone you want on your side, but be wary since he can be harsh when he is sure he knows the right way for others and they refuse to do things his way, which, yeah, okay. I'm glad I read that. Because so even just the change in the look of, or the energy of these cards, right? Again, like you might see yourself in a certain way, but you're not presenting yourself that way. The Empress would be presenting yourself that way in all your glory, right? It could even be changing the way that you work in some aspect, because we have the Eight of Pentacles And the Eight of Pentacles, Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time. Like, what are we putting our physical time into? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? It's also our physical body and our health, our lifestyle. So the Eight of Pentacles is putting in the work. It's understanding that you have to practice whatever it is in order to master it. It could be a formula, like you could be changing a formula in some aspect. But she physically is showing up and putting in the time, putting in the effort, putting in the resources and materials even, right, to perfect a certain thing. So this could even be literally birthing an idea, but then having to, it could be something that you have spent a lot of time perfecting. It could be something that it's going to demand more of your time to do. I love that. And then we have the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And the Page of Wands is very adventurous. They like seek out adventure, right? It's a page. So pages are like just kind of newer. They're depicted usually as like children, but it's like having that childlike wonder about things because, you know, they have the Ace of Wands there. The Ace of Wands is that spark, that's something new. It's a new beginning. So they already have the Ace of Wands and now they're like, what am I going to do with it? Like what things are possible? Like what can I create with this thing? Because again, wands have to do, I don't think I said anything about wands. Sorry. So wands have to do with action. It's the motivation behind the actions that we take, creativity, passion, like how are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? I also see wands as being information because that's what we get by trying things. We figure out what works, what doesn't work, what do we like, what don't we like. So again, right, and there's even this path, like this cat over here is like, hey, let's go this way. And the page is going to go. They're going to be like, okay, YOLO, right? Like, let's just see what it is that's over there. So it could be, you know, like embarking on a new adventure in some capacity, whatever that is for you. We have the Eight of Wands and then the Eight of Cups, which is cool. So there's 3 eights on the table. The Eight of Wands is things moving very fast, which is also the Chariot. So there's a lot of things about movement, a lot of things about divine guidance, a lot of, you know, like big energies kind of going on here. But the Eight of Wands, this even another tornado here. But, you know, she's got all of these wands up in the air and maybe even feeling overwhelmed with having to keep control over all of them. But she's doing it. So the Eight of Wands, again, that it's something, things are moving fast. You know, communication could be coming in fast to you. You could be having conversations with people, but it's like things are starting to move forward for you in a good way. We have the Eight of Cups, which is moving towards the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. But it's realizing when it's time to leave something behind. Because there's literally, like, there's nothing left in these 8 cups for you that you need. She's not taking anything with her. And if she did, she's taking just what she needs. But she is moving towards the 9 of Cups, which again is wish fulfillment. So it's getting clear on what that is for you. It's making a decision to even allow yourself to head towards that. And then we have the Sun card, which is joy and bliss and revitalization. I was going to say rejuvenation, but revitalization came out. So that works too. But it is like everything good. And not to mention too, right? It's the illuminary during the day. It is a thing that takes the darkness away, right? It when it comes up, it means that nighttime is over. So again, the sun is in Aquarius right now, which is pretty close to the moon, or it was at least today, creating that new moon. But again, right, this is celebration, happiness, like a new lease on life. Even, it's an even better card than like the Nine of Cups. So it's almost kind of like you're serious about creating this life that you love, that is also going to like give you life back. Not to mention there's also a woman who is pregnant in that card, if that means anything. I don't know. I don't generally like go into those type of specifics. So I'm going to leave it there though. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon.